Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Our subject today is Feed the Bot, Strategies for Improving Chatbots by Leveraging Knowledge Management Interaction. So good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're joining from. My name is Jenny Hepler. I'm a Customer Success and Business Development Manager for COMAROUND in North America. At COMAROUND, we are the experts in knowledge-centered service and self-service knowledge tools. We are the only independent KCS-verified knowledge management solution that's based in Microsoft technology, and we make it very easy to achieve fast results with data-driven intelligent knowledge and a user-friendly design. We also provide professional services and certifications by our team of experts. And also, we have a pre-populated knowledge base which can drive your artificial intelligence, including chat and bot initiatives. So some housekeeping items before we get started. The phones will be muted during the presentation. Please submit your questions via the chat box. Questions will be answered at the end as time permits. We're very lucky today to have with us Julie Moore as our presenter. I've personally known Julie for over 15 years, and I know that every presentation that Julie does, either in person or virtual, she knocks it out of the park. So there's no pressure there for you today, Julie. But we invited her because we really wanted her to highlight how important knowledge is to the success of bots and their technical support. So with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Julie to get things started.
Well, good morning, everyone, from sunny California. The sun is just coming up here. I am very happy to have been invited by COMAROUND to talk about such a topic as bots. I mean, it has definitely driven a lot of attention in the media and the press, and there's a lot of hype around bots and their impact on our industry. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about how to be more successful in your bot strategy. In our session today, we're going to, first of all, define a bot, and we're going to make sure there's a lot of information about bots and what they do and how they impact support and customer service organizations. But I kind of wanted to start with defining what it is and giving a clear explanation of the underlying machine language and things that you need to be aware about that are very important for the introduction of knowledge or feeding of the bot. We're going to look at some of the common misconceptions about bots and why would we want to begin using bots and develop a bot strategy. We're also going to talk about what's under the hood in using knowledge to feed the bots, and then I have some quick hits on how to establish a bot strategy. So let's begin by defining what a bot is. One of the main features of bots is the ability to automate tasks that we would traditionally use human resources to complete. And our goal is to have a conversation with our customer via the chat capability. They can ask a question, and the chatbot would then provide the appropriate response to the user to help them complete that task. So a bot is basically a program that interacts with the customers. It can provide them relevant information, and relevant is really the key word. Being able to find the appropriate relevant response based upon what the customer types in as their question. Bots are powered by rules, a set of decision trees, things that we have to create to program the bot to give the appropriate responses. Now, bots can use artificial intelligence and natural language processing. Not all of them do. Some of them do, introduce the more advanced features. And where we really see some great value out of a bot is when we can integrate it with other tools within our support environment, including our service management tools. But our ultimate goal is to have automated interactive conversation. Now, there are three main components of your bot platform that you have to take into account. The first is will your customers interact with the bot? Now, there's a lot of momentum right now around using the bots that are available through Facebook, where your customers can interact with your business through your Facebook page using a bot on that platform. But bots can also be integrated into your website, which is, where you commonly go to a website and you'll see down at the bottom where you can ask for help and the bot will pop up. You can type your question in there. The next portion of the platform is the artificial intelligence, and this is the rules that you develop or decision trees plus the machine language and the natural language processing. The third part of it is the system integration, and this is the bot platforms right now. There's a couple companies that have been out there for a significant period of time, and then we have a lot of brand new products being developed to meet the needs around bots. And so, as with most technology, as it's being adopted as quickly as it's being adopted right now, there's a lot of change and churn within the vendor platform on the features and functionality that are going to be available. So as you begin forward with a bot strategy, just recognize that what you do today probably will not be the same thing you're doing in year 2 or year 3, just simply because of the rapid pace of development on most of these platforms. But something to consider as you go forward is, does the bot platform integrate with the systems that I have? And that's important because of the knowledge that it will have access to. So the structured data that we may have in some systems and unstructured data in other systems. Now let's talk about some of the common misconceptions about bots. I mean, I will be honest with you, when you start thinking about, oh, it's a program, you start thinking, okay, this is going to require a lot of coding on our part. And as with most technology platforms over the years, we've kind of abstracted the user from the code, providing more user-friendly interfaces that allow you to use more natural language to tell the program to do what you need it to do. And the same is true with bots. There are times where you may need to be involved in some of the coding, but for the most part, these are, point-click type of interfaces where you'll be putting the information that you need into the bot in order to get the results that you want out of the bot. Another misconception, and I think this one has taken a lot of kind of press lately, is about, replacing human support. And as we've seen over the years around the support organization, is that technologies come and go, and it does have an impact on the support organization, but it doesn't necessarily completely replace human support. We may change what we do as humans. For example, you may supplement your chatbot with agents that will take over when a customer is confused or not getting the appropriate response. But more likely, what we'll see is that the skill sets that we'll need for our agents are going to be vastly different, because now they're not taking the mostly known stuff, because that's being handled by the bot. So they're going to need to be able to manage most of the new stuff coming in that we haven't seen before, and that there are no rules established in the chatbot. So the skill set's definitely going to change, because unless we design perfect products and services, there's still going to be outages and concerns and questions coming from our customers. And so the agents may be more focused on capturing that knowledge so that it can be put into the bot as we move forward with our new platform. The next misconception is that bots are intelligent agents. We kind of had this this reinforcement with all the movies over the years that, you know, the bot is going to be able to make decisions all on its own. And while we do see some progress in this area through the artificial intelligence, we're still not there yet. Yes, they do what we program them to do, but being able to make decisions on their own is not quite yet possible. And the last one is that bots can answer any question, and the reality is they can only answer the questions that we embed into the program itself. So as you move forward with a bot strategy, it's very important to understand what we will get from this platform. We want to have a very deep understanding about our customers, not just the products and services that we provide, but also the questions and concerns that our customers may be having that are unknown to us. So, for example, what does our customers know that we don't know? This gives us an ability to interact with our customers through another support channel where we can gather information about our customers so that we can better serve our customers. The bots are really meant as a complement. It provides a vehicle for our customers to interact with us, not replace our existing support channels, but to complement those. Bots are great for repetitive tasks where we have very clear, well-defined workflow models that have been understood, documented, and we have a great amount of consistency in applying those models to the incoming calls and volume that we do get from our customers. And for now, it is improving, but the bots generally have limited natural language processing skills. Now, bots are unable to tell if the response that they're giving to our customers adequately addresses their questions or their query. So they can't quite determine if the customer is confused by the response. And while we call them chatbots, the conversation capabilities are not really what we would call true conversation. They're just picking up on cues from what's being typed in by the customer and matching that to the knowledge that is in the knowledge base. So if it's not there, you know, the matching capabilities of our bots, it can lend itself to an unnatural conversation with a customer. Now, I've got an example here for you. Here's my bot. It says, "Hello, how can I help you today?" And I type in, "I'm unable to log into my account. I forgot my password." Now, the bot has a response for that, pre-programmed in. And the response is, "Please click on the forgot password link. You will be emailed a link that will help you change your password." And then I respond with, "I already tried that. The link takes me to a form to reset the password, but it requires me to enter in my account number, and I do not have this number." Now, here's where the bot's understanding of the conversation is very limited, because if it's picking up on cues in this conversation, it sees, "Oh, I don't have my account number. Oh, I know how to answer that." And it responds with, "The account number can be found in the account information menu when you log into your account." So we have difficulties here in understanding the second, bit of information coming from our customer, in that they can't get logged in order to get that account information. So I reply with, "But I'm unable to log in to my account, and I do not remember my password," and then it responds again with the same prompt around remembering the password. So why do we need or want to use bots? First of all, we want to be able to provide answers to questions from our customers, right? The ability to give them information in a timely way. And we do know that when we provide information via the phone, and we've got an outage or something critical occurring, that the delays in getting to a live agent can be frustrating for our customers. So being able to answer questions, survey our customers, provide service 24/7, a rapid response, and of course, one of the value adds is being able to decrease the support demands by shifting the knowledge left or closer to our customers. We're also able to automate tasks, personalize our service, and that's really, when we start talking about personalizing our service, that's where we want to connect to the different systems that provide information about our customers and allow us to respond in a personalized way with our customers. One of the greatest benefits of bots is clearly going to be the cost reduction. And when we can see the conversation that is occurring with our customers, we can also get intelligent routing when they do need a live agent into the organization. Now, the personalization is an important value add that can come from the adoption of bots. But bots can, first of all, remember the conversation that it has with a particular customer in order to personalize it, but it can also, using data from other systems, for example, being able to respond with, Julie, here's your answer, right? That would be a personalized response. Or if it knows the products and services that I've purchased, it may be able to customize the way that it responds to me based upon information from another system. That personalization is where we're seeing a lot of the expansion of the capabilities of bots as we're moving forward with the platform. So there are a variety of different ways in which we can use bots to interact with our customers. One would be to send out notifications, and we've seen, I personally have seen this occurring with a lot of the companies who have said, hey, can we have your phone number or your cell phone number as part of your online profile, and they begin to message me about critical parts of a process that I might be involved in. So either fulfillment or letting me know, for example, Avis sends me text messages to let me know that they've got my reservation, what my car is, and in what spot. These are things where they're using the chat feature on my phone in order to send me an alert or a notification. So kind of similar to that, being able to send out notifications to our customers using bots. The other thing is to conduct a survey. Bots tend to be much more rapid response and get higher open rates than emails. And so we could send out information about, what is it that our customers want and further our development platform based upon information that we can get from surveying our customers. Now, one of the things I think that could be the most valuable to support organizations is really being able to provide that 24/7 presence for support via chat. We can educate users by sending them content proactively for videos, training content, little snippets that can help them be more effective using products and services, and of course providing information, just general information based upon questions that are coming in. We can also use it as part of marketing, and the chat systems are now becoming fully integrated with e-commerce systems as well. So the features and functionalities of bots continue to grow and continue to get more robust. Now, a word of caution when it comes to your bot strategy. You're going to be most successful if you understand your customers well before you throw the technology into the mix. So you want to learn about your customers. Another very important part of programming or putting the rules into the bot is to have relevant content today. If you're struggling today with knowledge management and it's not effective, taking the knowledge that you have and putting it into the bot is only creating more chaos, not just through assisted support, but now you're doing it through another self-service channel. So you need relevant content that is usable by your end users to put into the bots to make them successful. You also have to have a level of trust with your customers. Not everybody is on board with the bot platforms. There's some user adoption there that we have to be very cognizant of and we don't want to push something out to our customers before we're ready to do so. We've seen how that happens with self-service, where we launch it, our end users don't use it, they don't like the interface, it asks very IT-oriented questions, and the adoption is very, very limited. So we need to be able to build trust with our customers first, that the knowledge is going to work, it's going to work effectively, prior to us pushing the bot as an additional support channel. So don't launch a bot without a clear strategy as to what it is you want to accomplish with that bot as it exists with your multi-channel approach today. And be very aware, especially if you're in an organization that is trying to adopt bots as part of your external customer support channels. Customers, as we've learned from all of the existing channels, is that they will respond negatively if the bot is not programmed correctly. And it's way too easy to capture a screenshot and share it on social media. So you definitely want to make sure that what you're pushing out to your customers provides the best possible experience, so that you can minimize the amount that is shared publicly on those little disasters of getting the wrong response to a particular question from a customer. So under the hood of bots, we have the natural language processing component of the bot. This involves breaking down the sentences into its various components and then processing the semantics of that to identify what it is that the customer is asking about, what is the intent of the customer. This is pretty hard to do, and we see how we have some examples of that with Siri, OK Google, Alexa. The natural language processing is getting much better. We've seen tremendous growth and advancement in this area. But if you pitch a question that has not been addressed prior to this, and it doesn't have the ability to understand what you're asking, you're going to get some interesting answers. But this is definitely an area that is vastly changing and improving. The other part of it is the machine learning. This is where a body of knowledge is used to find the appropriate response to the question. So this works best. The larger the repository of information, the better it's going to be able to provide an appropriate response. In this case, we're using algorithms to manipulate the data to find and score information to provide the appropriate response. So this is much easier to do. It's done mostly through the programming language itself. Examples for this, like Amazon, pays attention to everything that you click on, every time you put something in your cart, and it is able to use that information, process it to customize your portal into the Amazon shopping place. Uber does this. Google Maps, where we're seeing the ability to let you know real time that there's traffic and alert you to go around that traffic. So the more data that's provided, the more successful the outcome from using machine language. So if you're looking for a bot, if it's got the combination of the natural language processing plus machine learning, you're more likely to get something that's going to help you to move forward with your strategy more successfully. So when we look at the machine language part of this, right, it is absolutely essential for us to develop the rules based upon the typical customer interactions that we're going to have in our support channels. We want to map out these scenarios as detailed as we possibly can so that we get the best understanding of all the different types of questions that our customers ask while we're going through one of those interactions. The more we know about the customers today and we document, the more successful our bots will be in the future when we put that knowledge and those rules into the machine language portion of the system. So that is pretty much the overview of bots, why we're using them, what powers the bots. it's very clear to me that whatever strategy that you take moving forward with bots, that knowledge is at the core of your success. So now I want to talk a little bit about why and how you should be capturing knowledge today in order to be more successful with your bot strategy as you move forward. I have a quote here from Forrester, which I thought was incredibly interesting. AI-based chatbots are like seeds. You plant them, but then you need to feed them with high volumes of consumer interaction so they grow. Chat developers and designers are like gardeners. They have to tend to the chatbots and coach their growth through continuous yet gentle correction. So this is one of the reasons why I said it's unlikely that we're going to replace agents, live agents, with our customers, because we definitely know that the success of the bots is really about nurturing the knowledge that it's using to serve our customers. So while we may reduce the amount of live interactions that we have on our customers, we still need people that are knowledgeable about our customers and about the support that we provide, nurturing the knowledge base so that we can have the greatest amount of success with our chatbots. So that deep understanding of our customers, who are they? What questions do they have? What products or services are they using? What are the typical types of things that they need from us? This just isn't, question and answers, but what types of requests do they make? What problems or issues do they commonly have with the products and services? What we really want to know is, what do our customers know that we don't know? This is kind of the gap between what we've identified today and documented or are beginning to document in knowledge, and what our customers know that they don't come to us for. Google is a great example. Customers go up there all the time and ask for questions and get answers. So we want to be able to bring them back into our environment, find out what kind of questions are they asking that we don't have knowledge for. We want that as a nugget to begin developing the knowledge to continue to serve our customers and to use it to innovate our products. So we really have to understand what knowledge and map it to the structure of the bot's underlying semantic structure. The metadata that we capture around knowledge is very critical to identifying the relevancy. Remember, this is done by crunching the data, pulling out and trying to look at what the customer has typed in and match it in order to understand relevancy to respond with an appropriate answer. So the more metadata that we're using, being able to link it to products, symptoms, problem, version numbers, the user role, the operating system, all of those are going to be very important to identifying the relevancy. And the relevancy is what really makes the chatbot successful. If it comes in and asks a question and we're providing a response that's not relevant, we're going to get those disastrous outcomes. So the more metadata and information that we know about our customers, the more likely we are to be able to match the appropriate response to that specific customer's needs. Now, this is what we're talking about when we talk about the structure of knowledge within bot systems itself. We really kind of have three things that are driving the rules within these systems. One is the entity. What is it that the customer is calling in about or chatting to us about? We have to fully understand what the customer has said in that expression that they're typing in. The second part of this is the intent. So yes, this is what they typed in, but what was it that the customer intended in that question so that we can provide the appropriate response, which is the third part of that knowledge. The response is where we identify the most relevant answer in our repository, and we base that relevancy on the intent and the context from that customer, and then being able to provide that information to our customer in a usable format. So that repository is where that structured information that we mine from our existing transactions with our customers today in order to drive the appropriate response. So if we look at the characteristics of a conversation, right? So conversations are a series of reactions that we have to things that people say, right? Their utterances. It is definitely an interactive structure, and it's based on social conventions, an understanding of those social conventions, which tend to be very difficult for the technology to understand if it isn't programmed in there. A conversation has a very common goal, and it has a specific context, right? When you and I have a conversation, if I know who you are and what you're calling about, I can immediately respond with a context that's relevant to you. So when we start thinking about a bot, we have to be able to identify what is that relevancy in order to respond with the appropriate information. So in order to model conversations, when you capture your knowledge, you must capture the knowledge through conversation. It only makes sense that in order to mimic a conversation, that you document what that conversation looks like when you're having it with your customers. So construct your knowledge as you're going through conversations with your customers today. Of course, the information must be factual. The response has to be the appropriate response. But it's as much about the context of what the customer is asking for as much as it is about that information. The other thing that we have to get very good at is simplifying that response. It has to be straightforward and direct. A lot of times when we think about knowledge articles that are created today to serve our customers through assisted support, they're very technical oriented. So they're not going to serve our customers very well if we're using a very technical response and putting it into our bot. It's information that our customers are not going to understand. So the responses have to be straightforward and direct and written to the needs of the customer. Now, this transactional knowledge, right, is predominantly gathered through three primary types of interactions in a technical support organization today. It would be request fulfillment, right, ordering a computer, getting a password or an account, incident management where a service goes down or a customer has a question about a service, and then it's the general FAQs where a customer calls in and we have to give them a particular response. So these are the big hitters for a bot for technical support. Clearly, the easiest is going to be the general questions and answers because these have been pretty well defined in a support organization. The request fulfillment would be our next great nugget of information, and then incident management, where we're actually helping for troubleshooting, would be where we could move from there. So in technical support, we need to capture that knowledge in the transaction with our customer in their context. What did they say? What was going on? What did they need? What is their question? We need to document it while our customer is asking that question so we get it in their words. We don't immediately translate that into IT terms. Then we need your agent's response to that question, simplified and relevant for our customers, and then the organization's context. What is the taxonomy, information about the customer and our products and services. So the best way to feed bots is to capture information in the conversation, structure it so it's immediately can be used by the customers, capture the metadata, and then improve the context and relevancy as we begin using that knowledge through assisted support. So we're using our technicians and their interactions with our customers to continuously improve those knowledge articles that will make it much easier to build the rules within the bots themselves. Now, as far as your bot strategy is concerned, I have a kind of a sequence of events that I think will lend itself to you being much more successful. And remember, my caution earlier is that these platforms are continually changing. So you may buy a product to use today, and a year from now, you may be on a completely different platform. So being able to take a kind of a slow introduction to this, one that you're going to have the knowledge that you need to feed into the bots, is a very kind of an approach that I think will serve you well. So start by capturing the data, the relevant content in your interactions with your customers today. Focus on things like frequently asked questions and answers, the service requests, any types of customer information and service information that makes those interactions, the relevancy of those interactions. So begin capturing that today in assisted support. If you have a knowledge base today, do not start with it unless you've already had this customer-focused or customer-oriented view of that knowledge. If you have a lot of knowledge that's written by your level 2, level 3 that has predominantly been written for the use of level 1, that's not going to work. You want to start with fresh knowledge written in the context of the customer through those interactions and conversations. The second step is to then improve that knowledge through reuse in assisted support. So continue to fine-tune it, get a high degree of confidence, and you'll also get relevancy ratings. Those articles that are used the most are probably the best place to start to program into the bot because, one, they've been used, often they've been improved, so we have a consistent response, and there are things that our customers call in a lot about. So those are the great things for us to put into the bot as our number one priority. Once we begin introducing knowledge into a bot, whatever you do, do not launch externally to your customers yet. Use it internally, right? You can easily have your agents use the bot before you launch it out to your customer to see how well it responds to the new ways in which customers phrase things, right? So you may build a rule based upon one customer's interaction, but another customer calls in and calls it something completely different. That ability to fine-tune that article based upon multiple contexts coming from our customers is something that will improve over time. Then you can launch it to your internal customers. Again, measure, train, make sure you got a quality of your knowledge before you would launch externally. The next step would be to then combine the bots with the live agents. So whatever you do, don't just push it out, but use your agents to monitor what's going on in those conversations. So if you can see one conversation where the bot clearly is not understanding your customer, you can take over that interaction with a live response through chat. And again, it's about building trust with your customers that you're not going to put them through a channel that's not ready yet. So all of these steps are helping you to fine-tune that knowledge and make sure that it's working effectively prior to launching it out to external customers. So all along, measuring, training, getting the bots to be more understanding of the relevancy behind the knowledge. Now, a couple things to know, and I think this is important to your success moving forward, is when you launch your knowledge, you first want to do it through a self-service portal where customers are encouraged to go to a user interface that's simple like Google, one box, type in your question. Are they getting success through self-service? Are you seeing a deflection of calls coming in, right? No, fewer calls coming in and more hits and use on your knowledge and the knowledge base. The other thing is that you want to provide the opportunity for customers to give a thumbs up and thumbs down. So that's your opportunity when it's being pushed through self-service through your portal to improve. Get the information from your customers, why it didn't work, and then use that to improve the knowledge that you are pushing into your self-service portal. Another thing is to study the knowledge gaps. What questions are our customers posing through self-service on the portal today where there is no existing knowledge article? So what you're doing is you're shoring up your body of knowledge that you're going to use to program the bots. So instead of, imagine if you pushed a bot out that only had 2 questions and 2 answers, right? Your customers are not going to get a high degree of success with just 2 answers. Unless they ask only those 2 questions, it's not going to know how to respond. So if we address the knowledge gaps prior to launching our bot strategy, we're going to ensure that our customers are going to have a much more successful response from our bots. And today, our customers don't always call us about everything. Unfortunately, we wish they did, but they don't. And they don't because there's a lot of reasons behind that. It takes too long to get a hold of somebody. They may get a hold of somebody that doesn't know how to answer it. So they're going other places to get answers. But when you produce a well-working self-service site that's easy to use, has an excellent user interface, doesn't confuse the end user, and you have incredibly powerful knowledge behind the scenes that's providing answers to your customers, they will use that self-service site. So if you're trying to wean your customers off of the phone, get them to begin using your portal, shore up that knowledge, fill the gaps, and then use that to put into your bot and to establish the rules and the relevancy of information prior to launching those bots. The other thing is, how are you capturing your knowledge today, right? The bots are fed by uploading the pairs of the question and the answer. The bot will then validate when a customer comes in with a query, they validate for accuracy against that structure of the knowledge that you've introduced into the bot's system. And the more that that knowledge is reused, the more effective the bot becomes in providing the appropriate response. So that training is very important to the success of the bot. So the bot will apply what it learns to new information through user feedback. So you can see why launching self-service with a well-functioning knowledge base is so valuable, because we'll already be getting, first of all, the customer used to providing feedback, but two, we will address the relevancy issues with our knowledge and the content gaps prior to launching it out to the bot. So we will have incredibly well-structured, relevant data to feed into the bots to make them successful as a support channel, where we're going to see the return on investment that we're looking for. Once we get success with that structured data, then the unstructured content that we have that we can make available through integration will then continue to help the system to learn where it's relevant. So only at this point would I consider the integration with other support systems. Right now I know I have a core knowledge base that's effectively answering customer queries. We get a high degree of success with it. Now, how can I complement that? Here's where we can bring in some of that personalization. For example, if I connect my bot with like Salesforce or a CRM system where I can pull history information about my customer, personalized responses to my customers. But building that knowledge base with the structured data comes first, then pulling in structured and unstructured data from these other systems will then only improve the experience that your customers have with the bot. So I just want to wrap up. We're about at the 45-minute point, and I wanted to leave some time for questions and answers from our participants. We talked about what a bot is. We discussed some of the misconceptions about bots, which, you know, I included that for a very important reason. The misconception about this replacing humans, there's no doubt that it may have an impact on frontline agents that are doing live calls. But if you don't have the staff to nurture the knowledge and to continue to introduce the knowledge as we learn more about our customers, that knowledge base will have limited effectiveness, because it's just like our internal knowledge base today. If it's not used, and if people are not constantly updating it and improving it based upon new information, it dies, right? The knowledge base, no one uses it. People say, hey, it's no longer quality knowledge. So those misconceptions are important. As you move forward with your strategy, you need to make sure that you're positioning that the roles will change. Instead of providing 80% of what we do on the call, maybe we're doing 40% back-end work with the knowledge base, nurturing that knowledge, paying attention to questions that customers are posing that are not there, and building the knowledge that's appropriate to put into the bot. We also discussed why we should use bots in technical support or customer service organizations, and we learned about the differences around the bots and the different types of programming that we have within a bot that can be leveraged to use the knowledge to serve customers. And then the core of the message today is having quality knowledge to feed the bots. That starts today. Even if you don't have approval for a bot or you've purchased one and you're about ready to launch a bot, your strategy needs to start with making sure that you have quality knowledge today where you're capturing it while with your customers during those conversations. You're using it, improving its relevancy rating, getting the appropriate metadata, launching it through self-service first, and then you will have quality, relevant knowledge and the rules that are necessary to introduce into your bots to make them more successful. And lastly, I covered a bot strategy, gradually getting the knowledge and moving closer and closer to the bots, and then moving the bots closer and closer to your customers. So this brings us up to any questions that we had. I apologize. I did see you guys sending messages in about you guys getting error messages around the webinar stopping. I'm hoping that this went forward and that it hasn't in some way not been successful. I do have a backup plan. I have been recording the audio, and I can match that to the slides if there is anyone that wasn't able to hear the webinar. So, any questions? I understand that it has been resolved. And like I said, this is why I do the backup, just in case there's any technology glitches. For those of you who have been enrolled, either are here live, we have quite a few people live, and those of you who may be picking this up during the recording, if when we review this, the recording does not have all the relevant information, I can create a video view of all of this for you. So we'll get it to you one way or the other. So any questions? Okay, so my first question is, I don't have a good knowledge base. What's the fastest way to build a good one? I highly recommend that you look at knowledge-centered service as an approach to implementing knowledge management. I think that's the bridge, really, to getting to a better knowledge base, something that focuses in on the transactional work that you have today with your customers, capturing knowledge within the workflow, structuring it in a simple way in the conversation language that you're having with your customer in their context, and then using it over time. This is a great way to begin building a knowledge base that will be successful with bots. You can find out more information about that at serviceinnovation.org. Any other questions? Oh, come on. There's quite a few of you out there. You can't tell me you don't have any questions about bots. I will say that I found developing this presentation very intriguing to me. There is a lot of information out there about bots, and kind of filtering through all of that, it resonated to me that knowledge is really at the core of being successful with bots. And having used these systems, I'm in technical support like you guys, right? I have been in the support industry all of my career, and being able to interact with a bot in a way that will engage me is difficult to do. I find I am closing windows and getting rid of the bots as soon as I get to one of those responses where I can tell it's not a live person and it's not understanding the context, and I will try to find an answer some other way. So the knowledge is really at the key to being able to better serve your customers through this new channel that's so exciting and has so many potential value adds. Okay, I did get another question. How should the governance for creating knowledge, does one need a chief editor or various individuals? Very good question. I think it depends upon your bot strategy. If you are introducing a bot to your internal users only, and it's not going to be seen externally to customers, then the bot is the people that you can use to ensure the quality are your own employees, the people that are on the phone with the customer, interacting with them. They're the best ones to make sure that the knowledge is of the quality that you're going to need to be successful with the bots. The problem with putting too much governance in place is that it's not real time. The more steps that we have that are required before a knowledge article can be made visible to our customers, that creates a difficulty. You know, if there's an outage, I may use my chatbot or I may use a self-service website. So the more governance that we put into place, the longer it takes for knowledge to be published, and that's a problem. If it's not there and a customer's try to find it, they're not going to go back. They're going to say, oh, that's a useless channel to me. I'm not going to use it. So rather than build additional levels of governance, what you need to do is to build roles within your support organization that effectively provide the governance that you're looking for, but are in the flow itself. So you have people that use knowledge, people that have the responsibility to improve it, and then you have people that have the responsibility that can make that knowledge visible either through self-service or through your chatbot. So you do it based on trust of the individuals in the workflow. You don't create additional workflow that would require time and energy of people outside of the conversation. That's going to delay it. It's going to take too long. Now, having said that, if you're serving external customers, then we have some compliance issues that may be more than just quality-based and maybe more on the risk management side. Can we give this information to external customers? And we may have legal, intellectual property. There can be things like HIPAA that come into play there. You know, Homeland Security has a lot of laws and regulations around data. So here, when we talk about governance for external, you may need some additional governance for ensuring that that is public, consumable, appropriate. But again, the same rules apply. It has to be done as quickly as possible so that it can happen in real time. You'll have to think about your organization and what's driving that governance, if it's more risk management or more quality driven, and take an approach that's effectively going to build the knowledge in the conversation or as close to the conversation as you can get in order to make sure that you get that information into the bot as quickly as possible. All right, I have another question. In regards to the Microsoft solution Q&A Maker, do you find it useful and preferable if Microsoft Bot Framework is used, or should we rather link external knowledge base and link it somehow with a bot? Now you're really getting into the functionality of the tool and the integration between your knowledge and what you put within your bot framework. I firmly believe that the closer the knowledge is to the tool that's driving those interactions, the better it's going to serve your customers. It really depends upon the interface between Microsoft and your knowledge base, whether it makes more sense for it to be in the knowledge base and accessed, or whether it needs to be in the tool itself. But remember, when you're feeding the bot, the structure of the knowledge is probably going to be different than what you're using today in assisted service to serve your customers. So I believe that you're probably going to need the knowledge, the rules embedded in your bot framework, and that you'll be curating that in the bot framework and then accessing your other knowledge base to understand what new relevant knowledge is not in the bot today that we can then add into that framework. But again, that really depends upon your system and the capabilities and the interfaces between where you have your knowledge today. All right, my knowledge about bots is very limited, just learning about it. My organization has not been using them. We have a collection of FAQs. How can we start building the bot with those FAQs? It is outsourced. is there ready-made bots to buy and fill it in with the FAQs and answers? So I go back to the platform slide. You have your user interface that is probably your first decision. Where are you going to connect with your customers? Is it going to be through Facebook? Is it going to be through your website? You have to look at what your platform is first to identify the appropriate bots that can then serve the knowledge through that platform. Frequently asked questions are a great place to start to feed the bot. But again, I look at frequently asked questions and I think to myself, is that going to cover a majority of what your customers are contacting you about? If you find that 60% of the calls coming in are about FAQs, things like that, bots are a great way to make a dent in phone calls. It also makes it easier for customers to find the information if it's not well presented on your web page, right? If you're doing this through your website, it kind of acts as an intelligent search engine for finding relevant information to answer a customer's query. So if you see that the FAQs are a high volume hitter, then you may be able to launch your bot strategy just using those FAQs. But if that would be more customer service oriented and not necessarily the technical support that we're talking about, which I feel like there needs to be at least some representation for request fulfillment and incident management, because our customers will be asking those questions in our bots. But you have to think about your current volume, what you're solving, and if you have FAQs on your website, what is the hits? How long are people staying on those pages? How are they interacting with that information today to know if going forward with your bot strategy just with the FAQs is going to be successful? Okay, it looks like we've only got about 3 minutes left. I have a couple questions here. I'm going to see if I can get to both of them. What methods would you recommend for gaining traction and getting clients to use the bot? Again, self-service is an interesting thing. I think the worst thing that you can do for your customers is to launch a bot that's not going to have good rules and a good base of knowledge when you launch. Because once a customer clicks on it, and if it's not successful, they're less likely to click on it in the future. So you want to do the work that's necessary to curate that knowledge base, to get it in an appropriate form to be more successful. And then, marketing is everything. It's all about being clever in the ways in which you engage your customers. I would do it through assisted support first, to help your customers know that the channel is there, that it's working, that it's fun, and it invites participation before you roll it out as an additional support channel, being able to kind of work your customers through that during assisted support when they have the time. That would be my method. And remember that the bots do have the ability to chat with a customer. So once you begin to integrate those with your other systems, they will know and begin to understand the customer and can proactively communicate with them, which could also encourage usage of the bots. All right, last question here. My experience, whilst it is relatively easy to define question and answers, problems and causes to problems and solutions, to take the causes away, it is much more difficult to develop the diagnostic questions. Do you have any experience or best practice here? I'll go back to remembering that the knowledge needs to be done in the conversation. So when I look at an organization's knowledge today, it looks a lot like Word documents. If I'm going to try to take a Word document and take that structure and feed it into a bot, it's a lot of work, and it's not necessarily going to be a good return on your investment. Think about knowledge more structured like a PowerPoint. Simple, not complete sentences, but complete thoughts, right? Something that's easily structured today and improved through reuse in a simplified structure. You're going to get much greater success in moving that knowledge out to your customers. If a resolution requires a detailed diagnostics, it's very unlikely that that's something that you would want to put into the bot, right? You're going to want to start with knowledge that can be easily structured in simple concepts and form in order to put that into the bot. So start off with the easier stuff. Keep the diagnostic stuff, the in-depth decision trees that really do require a better understanding of the customer, to the agent-based support, and push out what can easily be structured in the customer's context out to our customers through the bot channel. Well, we did get through those 2 questions, and it is 9 o'clock. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. If you have any questions afterwards, please don't hesitate to connect with me on LinkedIn, Julie Moore, or through my email, Jules, Juls, @julielmoore.com, and we will definitely be able to get some more answers to you related to your bot strategy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Jenny, for allowing me to be a guest presenter today for COMAROUND.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, everyone, for joining today.